together with my colleague Stella Kyriakides. We are new members of the European Commission. For me, as a Commissioner for Agriculture, this is the first time in this role on this very important event, which is the International Green Week in Berlin. But in the past, I had once opportunity to participate as a member of the European Parliament, member of the Vice Chairman Committee of Agriculture several years ago. Now this European Green, this International Green Week, this is a very important event, one of the biggest in the world. This is the platform for promotion of the agriculture products, European agriculture production, but also this is the platform to exchange of knowledge, exchange of ideas, exchange of good practices in agriculture. This is a very important event, and this is the reason that we are both here participating in this conference. It's very important word green in the name of this Green Week. We have we are in face of the Green Week in Berlin, but in European Union, the challenge is not the only Green Week, but Green Year, Green Decade, maybe Green Century, because European Green Deal, this is the main priority of the new European Commission, Madame von der Leyen. The European Green Deal, which is a big challenge for the European economy, for the whole society, also for the agriculture. The contribution of agriculture to the European Green Deal is a very important challenge for our farmers. Of course, European Green Deal means that we require more from our farmers, that more requirements for more. We require more environmental friendly agriculture, more friendly for the climate, more friendly for the animal welfare. This is the reason that we need to strengthen common agriculture policy, and of course there is question of the budget. I'm happy about the initiative of the three ministers, declaration of the three ministers of agriculture from Germany, Ms. Julia Klöckner, from French Minister of Agriculture, and Spanish Minister of Agriculture from December last year. And one of the question in this declaration is that we need to strengthen the common agricultural policy and also the budget common agricultural policy. We have now on the table the proposal of common agricultural policy regulations and also the budget, MFF. Our role as a commissioner is to protect this proposal. And I declared in the past that I protect common agriculture budget against the proposal to reduce this budget, but not against the proposal to strengthen the budget. And I'm sure that we need the serious discussion about how to increase, how to improve the budget and how to ensure the budget appropriate for the big challenges, especially about the European Green Deal. Green Deal is a chance for the European agriculture, especially for the small and medium-sized farms, and this is for example, the biomass production. This is the chance for European farmers, and we have to use this chance for our farmers. Innovation is a very important word for the agriculture. The International Green Week, this is the opportunity to review the innovation in agriculture, new technologies, new methods of production, new good practices, and also the common agriculture policy should be innovative, and we propose innovative common agriculture policy. The new delivery model, this is kind of innovation. the policy based on the national strategic plans, which will be prepared by the member states, more flexibility for the member states, but more possibility to find good solution for the specific situation in the member states, because we have different situation in many subjects in agriculture between member states, different structure of agriculture in the member states, different needs for farmers, and common agriculture policy should be more flexible. And the third word is security. Our farmers ensure food supply security for 500 million European citizens. European Union has positive trade balance about the food, 20 billion euro per year, more export than import. But we should to ensure security for our farmers. We should secure them. They should be secured in the future. This is very important in the common agriculture policy. We have the signals then situation is they are threats, and in the farming, for example, the problem of the disappearing small farms. During 1 decade, we lost about the 4 million small farms in European Union. We have the problem with aging of the farming population, farmers' population. There are member states in which the majority of farmers, more than 50%, they are in age over 65. Generational renewal, this is the big challenge for common agriculture policy. This is a lot of questions which we should discuss. About, finally speaking, about the common agriculture policy reform, this is the good situation. Then now we have the Croatian presidency. We hope that it will be big progress in our work, legislative work, and the work about the budget. And the German presidency, which will be in the second part of the year. Germany, which is the biggest member state, the biggest netto payer for the European budget, and of course the country in which there is strong agriculture sector. I hope that this work, both presidencies, Croatian and Germany, will be effective, and we, in the end of the year, we will have the common agriculture policy, which will make our agriculture more friendly to the environment, climate, animal welfare, and common agriculture policy more friendly for the farmers. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Just one small point. Could I please ask everyone to keep the aisle free, not to stand in the aisle so as not to block the view of the camera? Thank you. Commissioner Kyriakides.
Thank you. Thank you very much. First of all, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and let me say how truly delighted I am to be here alongside with my colleague Janusz at this first International Green Week. As European Commissioner for Health and Food Safety, my first time to be at this event, and I'm really very happy to be able to be here with you today to share some thoughts with you and also hopefully answer some of your questions. I'm not going to repeat most of what my colleague Janusz has already said. We're all aware that this is a very important annual gathering, bringing together stakeholders and food operators and authorities to discuss subjects that are very close to what I believe is the European citizens' agenda. And this is why, for me, it's very important to be able to be here with you so early on in my mandate after taking up as Commissioner. Food safety, as you know, is one part of my two responsibilities in my portfolio. And I would dare to say and predict that I think it's going to be becoming more important as the years go on. I'm not going to tire you with facts. We are all aware that the world's population is growing while resources are dwindling, and that consumption habits are evolving over times. We know today that almost half of the global population is overweight, and at the same time we're wasting a lot of the food that we produce. 88 million tons of food is wasted in the EU alone. There is a huge contrast if we look at that and the fact that millions of EU citizens can go without a decent meal on a daily basis. So there is a lot that we need to do, but I don't want to stand on the negative. I want to stand also on the positive. I think we can be very proud that the EU's food chain remains one of the most secure in the world, with very safe standards. Our rapid alert systems allow us to detect and withdraw unsafe and even dangerous goods from markets, and they're almost like our silent guardians protecting us every day. This is a very important part of the work that I will be doing, and it links directly into the area of health. I see it as two sides of the same coin, or I would say as a continuum, because healthy and nutritious food also means healthy people. And how we consume food and produce is not only important for our planet, but it's also important for human health. We adopt a One Health approach, bringing together human health, animal health and welfare, and plant health. And I think that this is important, that when we're discussing health, that we do see this as a continuum. Janusz mentioned that in the context of the European Green Deal, which was recently launched, one of the key building blocks is in my area of responsibility, and it is the Farm to Fork strategy. The adoption of this strategy is foreseen to be unveiled this spring. We are full stream ahead preparing for this. And the aim of the strategy, and what we hope to achieve with Farm to Fork, is to support and lead to a global transition to a sustainable food system that will ensure healthy and affordable diets sourced from a healthy planet. What we will be doing different with this strategy is to ensure that it becomes the global standard for sustainability, and that our food is produced with a minimum impact on nature. And finally, I don't want to tire you, I want to address another very important topic related to food production. It's very high on my agenda here in Berlin, and that is the fight against African swine fever. As I'm sure most of you already know, tomorrow afternoon I'll be welcoming over 50 delegations, 25 ministers, and many global stakeholders at my conference, which will be addressing the future of our global pork production under the threat of African swine fever, and I look forward to seeing you there. I'm not going to go into the details of African swine fever. I'm sure that you know that it is a deadly virus for pigs since it was detected in Lithuania in 2014, and the presence of this disease in the EU is a huge challenge for us. It is at the moment, the EU has invested over 100 million to fight the disease alongside with significant human resources. It remains, thanks to the collective actions of member states and the Commission, confined to limited areas and mostly to wild boar. We do have good examples, like in Czechia, of eradication of this disease in its territory. Germany, on its side, has been very active in recent years in awareness campaigns, and we're in continuous discussion with the German authorities on this issue. I'm looking forward to having a discussion, forward to the participation of Minister Klockner in tomorrow's conference, which we'll be having in the afternoon. The top 5 EU producers, including Germany, are free of African swine fever, and we need to make sure, and this is our goal, to make sure that this disease doesn't spread any further. And a lot of these issues will be picked up and discussed, of course, in tomorrow's important international conference. This is a global challenge. We need to address it together. And this is why we decided that it was important that we hold this international conference, which will have the participation as well of third countries tomorrow in Berlin. Those words from me, and with this I end. Thank you again for your attention, and I look forward to working with you in the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Over to you for questions. If you could please use the microphones that will be passed around so the interpreters can pick up your question. Who wants to start? There and there. Start with the gentleman there. If you could please identify yourself and which media outlet you work for.
Mein Name ist Eckhard Wendt. Ich bin Vorsitzender der Arbeitsgemeinschaft für artgerechte Nutztierhaltung. Frau Kyriakides, ich hätte ganz gerne von Ihnen gewusst, wie eine möglichst geringfügige Beeinträchtigung der Umwelt möglich ist, solange noch Futtermittelimporte aus Brasilien und Argentinien kommen. Und dann hätte ich ganz gerne von Ihnen, Herr Kommissar, gewusst, welche Regelungen Sie zum besseren Tierschutz einzuführen bereit sind.
Did the translation work for you?
Yes, I think so, at the very end.
Okay. I'll just repeat the question because I'm not sure the translations worked for both. The first one.
No, it was for both.
Sorry, there was no translation for me. And
Die erste Frage zielte darauf, wie eine möglichst geringe Umweltbeeinträchtigung erreicht werden kann, solange noch Futtermittelimporte aus Brasilien und Argentinien in die EU fließen.
The translation work, how can we safeguard the environment as long as there's...
Well, the EU has very strict safety rules and regulations into any food that is imported from any third countries, and this will continue to be in effect. The second question... Sorry, the second question was for Janusz.
The second question confirmed animal welfare standards, which plans you have during your mandate for that. Is the translation?
No, this is I don't propose from my portfolio that animal welfare is first of all the animal welfare is in the portfolio my colleague Kyriakides. The animal welfare regulations. In my portfolio is the second pillar of the common agricultural policy, in which there is instrument to additional payment for the farmers who increase animal welfare standards above the minimum standards which are required. And this is the very good instrument to increase the animal welfare standards in agriculture, and with benefits for animals, better treatment of animals, and also additional incomes for the farmers. This instrument should be used more than in the past. In the past there was, I remember figures because I was a member of the European Court of Auditors responsible for the audit about the animal welfare audit. We used only 1.5 billion euro in the previous financial perspective. I will encourage member states to use more for this instrument and to increase the animal welfare standards in European farming. This is but I will not propose, but it is not, first of all, this is not my initiative, but I will not propose more mandatory standards, but I will encourage farmers using financial motivation to increase the animal welfare standards.
There's a question in the back.
May I just, because I think that this is important that I come to this. For animal welfare, it's going to be part of the Farm to Fork strategy, which we'll be launching in the in the spring, and we're going to be looking at the legislation. And because I realized that the gentleman at the back didn't hear my whole answer with the translation. For the previous question, in the context of the trade agreements, we will be promoting the EU environmental standards as well. So I hope that is satisfactory. Thank you.
The lady in the back there, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I'm Julie Reimer from German Independent National Radio Deutschlandfunk. This morning, our farmers are complaining a lot about conditionality, especially in the environmental part. This morning, Mr. Ruckwied, the president of the German Farmers Association, proposed a share for the eco-schemes about 20%. What is your idea? Is there an idea of a minimum share? I mean, it's always a compromise, minimum share of eco-schemes. And looking at the last European agrarian reform, where the green idea, it seems, failed, what should happen that this time eco-schemes would really work?
Thank you for this question. That's according to the proposal, Commission proposal, which was proposed by the previous Commission, Mr. Juncker and Mr. Hogan as a Commissioner for Agriculture. Eco schemes will be proposed. The concrete proposal will be presented by the member states. This is one of the part of the new delivery model, that member states will propose concrete action as eco schemes. I know that there is some controversial. I know the opinion of, for example, in the European Parliament, that it should be a list of the kind of menu proposed by the Commission for the farmers. I can say that I'm open for discussion about this question. If will be the concrete proposal from the Parliament or from the Member States, from the Presidency, of course, the Commission is ready to propose something, but general idea was that eco schemes should be proposed by the Member States, respecting specific situation in which Member States, because the action should be appropriate to the situation in each concrete Member States. This is the position of the Commission now. But Mr. Ruckwied's proposal, I can say that is interesting proposal, but we will discuss during the further procedure about this proposal. This is interesting for consideration.
Thank you. The gentleman in the second row here.
Ja, Patrick Liste, Wochenblatt für Landwirtschaft und Landleben in Münster. Herr Wojciechowski, ich habe eine Frage zum Green Deal noch. Sie haben eben dargestellt, es bietet insbesondere für kleinere und mittlere Betriebe Chancen. Momentan ist ja so, dass oftmals neue Auflagen, neue Anforderungen genau diesen Betrieben Schwierigkeiten bereiten. Welche Chancen sehen Sie konkret im Green Deal für kleinere und mittlere Betriebe?
I think that for small, medium-size farms, of course, there is member states, as I said before, the eco schemes. Member states can propose the eco schemes, which will be easy to use for the small farmers, for the small farms, and. For me, maybe the most important is the second pillar, and to encourage small and medium-sized farms for the programs, for the action for the environment and climate, because in the past my observation is that big part of the funds from the second pillar was dedicated to the big farms. to the big investments in agriculture. Small farms were they had not full access to these subsidies. And my idea is that the distribution of the funds in the second pillar should be more democratic, and there should be more access for the small farms for this action, and this is the place for the benefits for the small farmers in the European Green Deal.
And then one more question here in the first row before I move to this side of the room.
Mein Name ist Roland Krieg, Agrarjournalist herrenhof.de, mit einer Frage an Herrn Kommissar Wojciechowski. Grundlegend ist es ja so, dass die Umweltmaßnahmen lediglich ein bisschen Aufwandentschädigung. Geht es mit der Übersetzung?
There is a problem with the answer. Sorry, I understand only advanced German. Yes.
It should work now.
Yeah. Could you repeat the question? Sorry.
Ja. Mein Name ist Roland Krieg, Agrarjournalist aus Berlin. Die zweite Säule, die Umweltmaßnahmen. Meistens ist es ja so, dass doch nur eine kleine Aufwandsentschädigung gezahlt wird, aber die Landwirte verdienen mit den Umweltleistungen kein Geld. Gibt es nicht einen Zwang dahingehend im Rahmen der Bioökonomie, dass man das grundsätzlich ändern sollte, dass Landwirte mit Umweltmaßnahmen auch direkt Einkommen erzielen können?
No, this is the question of the please remember that it's a very important part of the reform will be the national strategic plans. And this is the place for the initiatives of the member states to propose the appropriate action for their farmers. And very important role the Commission will be to control that the national strategic plans are in accordance the general objectives of the common agricultural policy. But this problem can be, you should say, that this is the question of the national strategic plan, and each member states can propose appropriate action respecting their specific situation in member states.
Okay, I have 3 questions on this side of the room. The lady in the back first, please. Thank you.
Mein Name ist Ingrid Wendt, Arbeitsgemeinschaft für artgerechte Nutztierhaltung. Ich möchte Fragen an den Kommissar richten, ob er bereit ist, auch die erste Säule zu verringern zugunsten der zweiten Säule, wo mehr für Umwelt und Klima und Tierschutz gemacht werden soll, also die Flächenprämie zu verringern und vor allem für die ganz großen Betriebe, dass die nicht ganz so einen hohen Betrag bekommen und lieber die kleineren gefördert werden. Und dann habe ich noch eine zweite Frage, die betrifft die Welternährung. Es wurde vorhin von Frau Klöckner gesagt, dass wir unbedingt unsere Produktion sehr stark steigern müssen wegen der größeren Weltbevölkerung. Und ich meine, dass es jetzt schon genug pflanzliche Nahrung auf der Welt gibt, um alle Leute zu ernähren. Und deshalb meine Frage, sind Sie auch der Meinung, dass man nicht die Produktion steigern muss, sondern stattdessen den Verbrauch verändern muss, also etwas weniger Fleisch und dafür dann mehr pflanzliche Ernährung? Danke.
Less meat and more plants. Of course, this is also the choice of the member states and the concept in the national strategic plans. The Commission proposed to reduce the payment. The Commission proposed the capping, which means the reduction of the biggest payment, the more than €100. It means that if mandatory capping will be accepted by the Council and will be finally will be the law, It means that we will have more money to support small farmers and to reduce the support for the big farms. But generally, the answer for the question is also in national strategic plans, because this is the choice of the member states. They recognize the needs in agriculture, that this is the question of the specific situation in the member states. Commission will not force the farmers, for example, to liquidate the livestock and to product plants. No, this is not the Commission idea. It should be decided on the national level in the strategic plans.
I just wanted to come in on this. Two things I would like to say, because we have already mentioned where farmers would stand on this, and what we have said from the beginning as a Commission is that the plan is that no farmers and no one should be left behind. At the end of this mandate and this effort, we hope that sustainable choice will be the only choice when it comes for people. Also, because it's come up in a number of questions, Farm to Fork will be looking at all the issues that have to do with animal welfare, and will have specific proposals, as it will also look at issues relevant to food waste, which I have mentioned. And it will also look at ways of making sustainable practices more profitable. And we will be supporting private and public funding for these innovative, sustainable practices. Thank you.
Maybe I'd like to add on the one question, but this is an animal welfare measure in the second pillar. This is very, very good instrument for real improvement of the animal welfare standards. It can be, for example, which action can be supported from this: less density of animals in the farms, less density, which is 2-3 times less than standards, the minimum standards. This is one of the possible solutions to encourage farmers to pay them who use this less density livestock. For example, they use the straw for the pigs in the pig farming. Very good instrument for the small farms. Farmers who have no big number of animals with proportion to the land. The farmers has 10 hectares. I don't know exactly now what should be the number of the animals, but in the proportion to the land. This kind of practice we will support. For example, the summer pasture for the cows, for the cattle, this is also should be supported. Very, very interesting instrument we had in the past, and we will encourage to use more in the future common agriculture policy. And this is the good way to improve animal welfare standards, because this is also for me very important question. I was head of animal welfare intergroup in European Parliament. I'm very in favor high animal welfare standards, but we should use instrument encouraging farmers, motivating farmers for improvement of the standards.
There was a question in the third row here in the center. The lady there. Then I'll come to you.
Hello, my name is Stefanie Pionke. I work for the trade publication Agrarzeitung. I have a question for Commissioner Kyriakides. A lot of agricultural lobbies ask for a separate legislation for modern genomic technologies like CRISPR-Cas, which is now under the common GMO standards. Which is your position on that?
In terms of, sorry, they want separate legislation?
So, as it is now, it falls under the same legislation as conventional GMOs, and they claim that they I don't know how to explain it now in brief, but they want a separate legislation because it is a different procedure.
I think you're referring to new breeding techniques, and you know that there was a... Yes, sorry. Yes, you're very aware of the court decision as well, and we'll be looking at this and coming up with a proposal in Farm to Fork. We're at the moment assessing the situation.
Okay, then in the first row here, Herr Michelberger.
Thank you very much. Simon Michelberger, Bayerisches Landwirtschaftliches Wochenblatt. I have a question for Commissioner Kyriakides. Now, part of the Green Deal is also the commitment to reduce the usage of plant protection products. In an internal draft, I believe there was already a figure of 50% less by 2030, which didn't make it to the final version. Nevertheless, could you elaborate a little bit more on what your aims would be to reduce the usage of plant protection products, and also how you intend to prevent a distortion of competition within the European market? Because already today we have a situation where certain mordants, for example, are illegal in Germany but legal in Poland, and therefore products are being processed in Poland and then sold to Germany and used in Germany. So how would you intend to prevent a distortion of competition if we move ahead and ban more plant protection products? Thank you very much.
In terms of the use of pesticides, well, I want to be absolutely clear that protecting citizens from the risk of exposure to pesticides and addressing their impact on the environment is a priority, not only for myself as a commissioner, but it's for the whole Commission. In the last few days, we've actually banned 3 active substances due to environmental and health concerns. I want to be clear on this, that we will never hesitate to ban any pesticides that are proven to be dangerous and unsafe for the health of European citizens. I'm not going to, at the moment, come up with a number that is what you would be asking for, but I am going to tell you that in the Farm to Fork strategy that will be launched in May, there will be definite targets that will be addressing both the use and the risk of pesticides. And I'm very clear about this. It's not going to be vague. We will be setting definite targets.
Distortion of competition?
What is available in terms of safety is available across EU member states. And we need to also be aware that plants also need to be protected. And I think that's something that needs to be discussed, and I would like you also to be picking up of this, is that we also need to stimulate the development of alternative plant protection mechanisms. I think this is very important. When we're talking about banning, we also need to look at what alternatives we'll be working towards, so that giving other means of protecting crops. Thank you.
If I may add one sentence, that the problem of the fair competition is, of course, it should be in the internal on the internal market in the union, but this is the also problem of the trade with the third countries. I was in the Court of Auditors. I was responsible for the audit about the food safety in the European Union, and there was found the cases when were imported products from South America, produced using the pesticides which are forbidden, which are banned in the European Union. It should not happen in the future. We should strengthen our control system and not import the products which are produced using the pesticides which can be not used in the European Union.
I have 2 more questions on this side, and then I'll move over to you. Don't worry, I see everyone. First of all, the gentleman just next to you. Yes.
Mein Name ist Michael Gruber, ich komme aus Österreich, ich bin selbst Bauer. Ich hätte eine Frage an den Herrn Kommissar, und zwar haben Sie mehrfach betont, dass die Mitgliedstaaten, die nationalen Staaten auf nationaler Ebene die Möglichkeit haben, Maßnahmen selbstständig zu ergreifen, ohne dass das von Ihrer Seite, von der Kommissionsseite eingegriffen wird. Ich habe es anders erlebt. Bisher waren die Maßnahmen, die halt schwierig waren oder mit Auflagen verbunden waren. Man hat im nationalen Bereich gesagt, das kommt von der EU, das haben wir nicht gemacht. Also das Böse kam da immer von der EU und die nationalen Vertretung hat sich immer ausgeredet und gesagt, das Gute kommt von uns, das Schlechte kommt von der EU. Das wäre die eine Frage. Was verstehen Sie? Können Sie das näher ausführen? Wie weit können die Nationalstaaten selbst bestimmen? Und der Herr Vorredner hat es richtig erwähnt, wir haben es bei der Vorpräsentation gesagt bekommen, dass die deutschen Saatgutzüchter ihren Raps nach Polen bringen müssen, weil sie ihn hier nicht beizen dürfen und dann den Raps wieder zurücktransportieren. Also auch hier umweltgefährdend, muss man sagen, warum gibt es hier solche Unterschiede? Und eine letzte Frage wäre die Spekulation im landwirtschaftlichen Bereich mit Grund und Boden. Das ist ein zunehmender Faktor und der trifft uns massiv. Großhandelsketten, Kapitalanleger, Ärzte, Rechtsanwälte kaufen Grund zu mehrfach überhöhten Preisen. Die Bauern haben keine Chance mehr, Grundstücke zu erwerben. Wäre es hier nicht sinnvoll anzudenken, dass diese Leute, die mit agrarischem Ackerland, agrarischem Grund und Boden spekulieren, denen Flächenförderungen zu streichen, um das unlukrativ zu machen?
Sorry, if I may just translate the first part of the question.
Sorry, with translation of the first part, but as I heard your second question, which is very, very important. Of course, yes, you're right. We have the problem of land concentration in European Union. There is 52% of all agricultural land in European Union is in the hand of the 3% of the owners. 3% farmers, they are owner 52% of land. But this is not the European Union competence. That structure of property, the regulation is national regulation. But I have some proposal that we will do the kind of review of the practices in the European Union, how because they are national legislation preventing this situation. That's legislation in which the only real farmer has right to buy land, for example. And this is the regulation against the concentration of land and exchange of this practice. Good practices can be interesting for the member states. We cannot order the practice, but only as an exchange of good practices. According to Article 345 of the treaty, the structure of ownership of the property is the national competence. But they are interesting legal solution in the member states, and we should to review these practices and maybe recommend as a good practice, not require this. Sorry, because the first part of your question was not.
Okay, I have 4 more questions on my list, and I think with a view to the time, we might have to wrap it up afterwards. First of all, in the first row here, Ms. Gabert.
Johanna Gabert von der Top Agrar. Ich habe eine Frage an die Kommissarin Kyriakides. Welche Chancen sehen Sie für ein EU-weit verpflichtendes Tierwohl-Label beziehungsweise eine EU-weit verpflichtende Kennzeichnung für Ursprung und Haltung, also eine Ursprungs- und Haltungskennzeichnung?
Well, at the moment we do have animal welfare legislation. I think that what is important is that we look at how this is being implemented and enforced before we move into looking at new legislation that we, if we need it. We have been looking at various aspects over the last few years to do with issues to do with animal transport, and these needs to be reassessed. And we're constantly, as a Commission, looking at building up evidence to see if we need to proceed with new legislation, or we need to just look at the implementation of the current legislation as it appears.
And then in the first row here, please.
Karol Bujoczek, Topagra Polska. I have two questions. One question is, Mr. Commissioner already mentioned about the control from products going from overseas which are not meeting the standards. Who's going to control and where? On the border or on the production side in the third countries? And the second question is, we have climate changes, and the climate changes are hitting the farmers, especially drought. And do you see the need for another risk management tools for climate changes disasters, if they are coming in the future, to help farmers with financial problems? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for this question. For the first question, my answer is of both control we need. Also in the border, which is responsibility of member states, the border. But we should use also the possibilities to control how the entrepreneurs who export their products to European Union, how they respect the production standards. This is the very important, and we should to strengthen the control system. The second question, so what was the circle? Oh, okay. Yes. Of course, that I think that in the second pillar we should use the instrument. We have instrument for the. We have funds to prevent farmers for the prevention system against the national disasters, and we should to use this instrument. But the problem is that. The second pillar was reduced according to the CAP proposal, and next reason that it should be considered during further debate.
First of all, I want to just reiterate something that we tend to forget, that we do check imports, and we do have a high level of safety for imports, and the new official controls law will provide even more safety. If I may come back to something, because I think I was thinking about it after you finished. I think it was lost in translation a little bit. I think you were talking about labeling. I'm sorry the translation wasn't very helpful for me. We'll be looking at issues to do, and I know that labeling is a huge discussion. We'll be looking at things to do with nutrition labeling, front to pack, and origin labeling, and everything in the farm to fork. We're presently looking at this, and in the farm to fork strategy, which we hope will launch in the spring, we will be addressing all of these issues that are really very important to the citizen. And I also believe that it's a right of the consumer to know what they're buying and what they're consuming, and we need to find a system that is going to be as clear as possible, as transparent as possible, and possibly as unified as possible across the member states. A lot of discussions on this, but I hope that in Farm to Fork we'll be able to come up with a proposal. Sorry, I realized afterwards when I was going back through the words of the translation that I had missed it. Thank you.
In the third row there.
Sepp Kellerer, Bayerisches Landwirtschaftliches Wochenblatt. Sie haben vorher beim Thema Eigentum angesprochen, dass es ein nationales Problem ist. Sie haben in den Vorschlägen für die Zukunft immer wieder betont, dass Sie nationale Strategien erwarten. Wie können Sie sicherstellen, dass aus nationalen Strategien nicht neue nationale Probleme erwachsen? Mit anderen Worten, wie wollen Sie neue Wettbewerbsverzerrungen, die auch innerhalb der EU entstehen könnten, aufgrund der nationalen Strategien, wie wollen Sie diese verhindern?
Different national strategies that we should respect the different situation across the member states. I can give you an example for example, the problem with generational renewal, which is absolutely different, like for example, in Germany, in Austria, in Poland. This is not so big question because less than 10% farmers are in age over 65. But like in Portugal, more than 50% farmers are in age over 65, sorry. And it means that to this question we need different approach because there is not the same situation. And the structure of farms, I say, the size of the farms is different. We have Romania about the 6 hectares, Poland 10 hectares, Czech Republic more than 130. This is the reason that we need national strategy because this situation is different. In my point of view, it will be not against the competition. I can't see any problems with the competition because of this. And about the structure of ownership, once again I say, this is the 100% national competence. Only one possible action is to review the legislation, to discuss about this. Maybe some member states will be motivated to change their legislation to stop the process of too much concentration of land. This is like, for example, that is in my home country, the Poland. It's interesting act protecting real farmers to buy land. There is not easy to buy land for the people who are not farmers. This is the one of the possible solution. It will be very interesting to exchange knowledge about the practices. But as I said before, 100% of the national competence.
And in the fourth row here in the center. The gentleman first, and then we'll have could we maybe get these two questions one after another together? We're a bit running out of time, so if we could just group these. Yeah.
Markus Groll, Wirtschaftsmagazin Trend aus Österreich. Sie haben schon gesprochen, dass eine finanzielle Ausstattung des Agrarhaushalts wichtig ist. Bis jetzt hört man aber nur von Senkungen und von Kürzungen des Agrarhaushalts. Wie hoch sehen Sie die Chance, dass das doch geändert werden kann? Und wenn ja, woher sollen die Mittel kommen?
Thank you. And then
Mechthilde Becker, Bauernblatt Schleswig-Holstein. Herr Wojciechowski, die Landwirte gehen seit Monaten auf die Straße. Es finden Traktordemonstrationen statt in Frankreich, Holland und in Deutschland. Anfang Dezember haben Landwirte mit tausenden Traktoren es geschafft, Berlin lahmzulegen. Die Landwirte äußern Sorgen und Unzufriedenheit über Reglementierungen. Sie äußern Zukunftsängste und es geht um die gesellschaftliche Wertschätzung der Landwirte. Wie nehmen Sie diese Unruhen wahr und wie sehen Sie die Zukunft der Landwirte in Europa? Welche Botschaft können wir an die Landwirte von Ihnen vermitteln? Vielen Dank.
I cannot give opinion about the decision of the farmers to demonstrate or not. This is in democracy is right for demonstration, and all citizens can use this right. But I understand farmers that they are worried about their future. And I understand the farmers. And this is the reason that I say so much that we need to have the appropriate budget for the requirements for the Green Deal, but not only for the Green Deal. You have new threats for the farmers, like natural disaster, which is more intensive than in the past. Like now the new problem, maybe new in there is new for the Western Europe, but for the Eastern Europe is long time. There is the African swine fever. The problem. We need more support farmers to prevent this threat, and this is the reason that farmer, of course, the farmer have a reason to be worried about their future, and it should be considered by the European politicians. We don't finish our work for the future CAP. This is the Commission proposal. Commission proposal is 365 billion euro for 27 member states. Commission proposal is to reduce the direct payment 3.9%, to reduce second pillar. There was 100 billion euro. The proposal is 79 billion euro for the second pillar. This is the proposal on the table. But farmers are worried about their future, and I understand the European farmer that they are worried, and this is the reason that we need serious discussion, serious debate before final decision about the budget, about the distribution of CAP budget. And also, this is the very important, our task as new commissioners, to prepare a long-term strategy for the rural areas, a long-term vision of development of the rural areas. We don't have this strategy for the future. We have long-term vision for the climate policy, for the energy policy. We don't have long-term vision for the agriculture and for the rural areas. A very important question is, for example, the synergy between CAP and cohesion policy. We can observe that majority of funds cohesion policy is dedicated for the urban areas, not for the rural areas. Sometimes it's that reflection like that. Some people think that common agriculture policy is only one policy dedicated to the rural areas. Not. This is also the cohesion funds should be also support development of the rural areas. It should be synergy between both policies. And there is a lot of reasons that farmers are worried about their future, and we should give them positive answer, that we should help them to be more optimistic in their future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was a good closing statement, I would say. I'm afraid we're going to have to wrap up here due to time constraints. I'm sorry if we didn't get to all of your questions, but we need to make sure you and the commissioners get to the opening ceremony in time. Thank you very much.